You've got a fire in your belly, a passion to serve, and an insatiable drive to contribute. You know that if you can just get your message in front of the right people, you can change lives. But where to start? There are so many options, so many moving pieces. You get bogged down, overwhelmed, frustrated, while the burning desire to serve others consumes you. I know, I've been there. And these days I bring life-changing impact and value to people's lives through the creation of books, funnels, online courses and coaching programs, and virtual summits. This is the Call to Serve podcast. I'm Tim Cooper, and this is my journey. Do you ever feel overwhelmed? Like your mission is bigger than you are, and you just don't know how you're going to accomplish what you've been put on this earth to do, to achieve? Well, I've just listened to an amazing training once again by Myron Golden, and it just blew my mind. And I just had to share some of my key takeaways on how to develop ourselves as people and gain the skills to progress along and fulfill our mission, to fulfill our calling. So I've got some notes here. So if I look down every now and again, I just don't want to miss anything. So firstly, let's look at what wisdom really is. Okay, so wisdom isn't just knowing something. In today's language, we'd call wisdom skill. Okay, so not only having an understanding, but also an ability to put that knowledge to work. Okay, so the wise old man and that sort of stuff. So people just think that wisdom is knowing something or having a high IQ and stuff like that. But that's not what wisdom is. Wisdom is skill, right? The application of what you know. Okay. And before you can sort of develop, let's put some groundwork down. Let's put a roadmap, some building blocks, what Myron calls the prerequisites of wisdom. Because we all start at the same. Number one is ignorance, and that's the absence of truth. And let's talk about truth, because you'll often hear me say that you've got your truth, right? And when I mean stand in your truth, I'm not saying that if you believe the truth is that your hand is your foot and your eye is your ear, then that's not the truth, right? What I'm saying is that when you stand in your truth, you are recognizing and identifying where you are now, and not to pretend to be something you're not. Identify your weaknesses and your strengths. And once you have identified that and you accept where you are at, then once you accept where you're at, then you know what you need to do to progress forward. So that's what I mean when I say stand in your truth. But in this instance, we're talking about universal truths. Gravity always works the same for everybody. The sun always rises in the east and always sets in the west, right? Those are truths. So when we talk about ignorance, here we're talking about the absence of truth. And when we're born, we basically know nothing. We can't do anything for ourselves. We don't know our name. We don't know our mother from our father. We can't dress ourselves. We can't feed ourselves. We can't wash ourselves, right? So we can't do anything. But over a period of time, we learn. Okay, our parents teach us, and we go to school, and through experiences of life, we gather skills. So if you look at everything you can do now without any conscious effort, right, it wasn't always like that. And that's the same for everybody. And this is the encouraging thing, is that if you look back and look at everything that you've learned and everything that you've mastered, there really isn't anything that you can't achieve if you set your mind to it. Okay. So that's where we all start. We all start with the absence of truth. And then we gain knowledge, right? And knowledge is the accumulation of truth. So We read and we listen to videos and that sort of stuff. And we're pulling in all this information about how the world works and how this works and how that works, right? Or what it is, not necessarily how it works, because that's it. You can have knowledge on something, but not an understanding of why it works in the way it does. An example for me is when I first started programming computers, and I would start off by copying sample programs out of a magazine. So a magazine would come every month, and I'd get on this little computer, and this is even pre-PC. It was a Tandy computer. I forget the actual model, but I'd copy. Right? I'd copy line by line, letter by letter into this little computer, and I'd run it, and this program would run. So basically, I was doing it, but I had no understanding of why it was happening, like why typing those words, letters, numbers in was resulting in that outcome. And so then you come to the point of understanding, which is the assimilation of truth. So now you not only know about something, but now you understand it, right? You know why it works. And then you finally come to wisdom, which is the application of truth, right? So, they always say, the learning is in the doing. So this is when you've actually got the knowledge, you've gained understanding, and now you are actually physically doing it. And then you're going to, competence comes through repetition, and then you're going to gain mastery. So that's the sort of starting point of the natural progression of things. And that's the same whenever you're going out to learn something new. It's the same application. If you haven't heard of it before, you're starting out at a level of ignorance because you know nothing about it. Then you start to learn something, and so you gain some knowledge. You start to build an understanding of why it works, and then you build a skill by applying that knowledge and actually doing doing the task, whatever that may be. Okay. So let's look at now how to build skill. Okay. And it said it takes a mindset, and it takes discipline. But if you apply this over and over again, you will develop wisdom. Okay. So let's start at one of the first things is firstly, be prepared. Okay. Preparation, not waiting till something goes wrong, not being reactive, being proactive, planning for the bad times when it's still the good times. And as humans, we just seem to sort of get into this sort of rhythm, and life is going well, and things are happening. And so it's all good, nothing worry. I'll worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. And then sometimes we end up with a big slap in the face, and go, whoa, what happened? And now you're totally unprepared to deal with that particular situation. So preparation, right? Forward thinking, preparing, proaction, okay? And then the next thing is to be diligent, right? Always be moving, always be working towards your outcome, your goal, and not giving up, not just sort of going, okay, well, things are going pretty good now, I'll just take the foot off the pedal. And that's another human trait. Okay, so now you start to see some success and think, oh, this is good. I'll relax. I'll take a week off, or And the point is that if you're going to progress through, always remain diligent. Okay. The other thing too is that when it comes to to building your skills, you've got to be self-taught. You've got to take the initiative. You've got to go read those books, watch those training programs, and once again, gather that knowledge and then build an understanding towards it. Okay, so you've always got to be learning, always got to be open. The worst thing that could happen to anybody is to stop learning and say, no, I know everything about this particular subject. I don't need to know anything more, right? So always be learning, always be out there looking for the resources that can help you. The other thing too is that you have to be self-motivated, right? If you need somebody behind you cracking the whip or kicking you up the butt, it's going to be very difficult for you to go through and gain the skills that you need to become bigger than who you are now, right? So you've got to be a self-starter. You've got to be self-motivated, driven. Let your passion drive you and do whatever it takes to get to where you want to be, okay? And this also comes into self-discipline, the same thing. You've got to be willing to do what it takes. And when you find something that works, stick to it, right? Don't go, okay, this is another strange thing about human nature is that once we find something that works, we look to see whether there's another way. And look, sometimes something can be working and there is a way to improve it. But what I'm saying is that things are working really well and then you just go off and do a radical change because you got bored with that. So you've got to be disciplined in your approach, do whatever it takes. And then when you find something that works and works well, it's simply rinse and repeat. Okay, and you're going to move forward a lot faster because now you've got these processes working, you know they're working, you don't have to worry about them. Now you can come back later and tweak them, right? But the point is, be disciplined. The other thing that you need to do is surround yourself with people who are good at what you're bad at, who are strong where you're weak. You've got to find people who complement you. And this happens, once again, in all areas of life. When it comes to business, you don't have to be the be-all and end-all. You don't have to do everything, and you shouldn't, because nobody is good at everything, right? You should be concentrating on your strengths, what you're great at, and then build a team around you who can fill in those gaps, who are good at the things that you're not good at or good at the things that you just don't like to do. And by doing that, you're now being able to focus on what you need to do to move forward. And you've got people helping you along the way with the things that you need help with. Okay, so there is no benefit in surrounding yourself with people who have exactly the same skill sets as you do, right? Because then you just all get stuck because there's just things outside of the skill levels. So that's another thing, is don't try to be everything. Don't try to be the be all and end all. Once again, come back, stand in your truth, and know where you're at, know what you're good at, concentrate on that, and get other people in who can complement you, who can fill those gaps. And then the next thing is cooperation and collaboration. Be part of the greater whole. That when you cooperate, when you work as a team or as part of a team, or when you collaborate, your impact is multiplied exponentially. Like if I have a business partner and we're working on a project, we just don't 2x our output and our income. It grows exponentially. And then the more people you bring into that team, the same thing. And to be honest with you, most of my successful products and ventures have been collaboration projects, right? So the summits that I produce with a co-host, and I've got a co-host who complements my skills. So she goes off and she does what she's good at. I go off and I do what I'm good at. And together we build a solid offering that brings lots of value to people. And that it also generates good revenue because we have collaborated, we brought our skills together. And even to this day, I I collaborate. I team up with organizations and businesses, and together we work together to bring value to their members. And once again, it takes a lot of the hard work out of it, and you're moving forward. So you're not sort of scrambling around, looking for clients and that sort of stuff. Like collaboration, cooperation is a big key to moving forward and developing your skills. And lastly, you don't have to, once again, be the be all and end all. You don't have to create everything from scratch. Take advantage of the work that others have done. Take advantage of the tools and the applications and the resources that have already been developed by other people, and adapt them, bring them in, or use them, like saying the internet, right? You don't have to go and invent the internet. It's already here. And what a powerful tool that is. That's broken down all geographic boundaries. Now, any business can have an international presence. Even a brick and mortar shop can put its products onto an e-commerce site and now sell all over the world. So you can profit from the work that other people have done. Like, you don't have to create websites from scratch anymore. There's so many tools out there that anybody can get on, and with a little bit of training can build very profitable, great looking websites in a very short period of time. It's just like these days, these web development platforms, it's like typing into a word processor. Okay. So once again, you don't have to go off and hire a programmer, or you don't have to go off and learn HTML coding to create that. Okay. So look at what's already out there and see how you can utilize all these existing resources to, once again, speed up your time to market and profit from. Okay, so be prepared, be a self-starter, be self-motivated, be self-taught, be self-disciplined, right? Because at the end of the day, it's you, right? You should never, ever rely on somebody else for your success and for your progress and for who you are becoming. It's all on you. Okay, so take responsibility and be prepared. Be open to admit that you are not good at everything, that you can't do everything, and surround yourself, whether you hire or you just form a cooperative, a collaboration, where you can have people around you who are good at what you're bad at, right? Have their strengths that complement your weaknesses, so that together as a group, you can just move forward and reach success. And just look at what's already out there, the applications, the resources, the tools, and use them, right? Don't go out there and try and reinvent the wheel. Just take advantage of the work that other people have done to bring your mission to life. So I hope you found that inspiring and useful. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and little bell. You like this content? Give it a thumbs up. And at some point, very soon, there'll be this way. There'll be a playlist popping up with all the previous episodes that you can go through at your leisure. If you're listening to this on another podcast platform and you found this content useful, please follow the show and give it a review. If there's a way for you to reach out to me on that platform, please do so. Otherwise, I'm always available at tim@timcooper.au. That's tim@timcooper.au. I'd really love to hear from you. And until next time, you take care.